Donald Trump's pep rally in Tulsa. It was a pep rally, definitely. He boasted about 1 million people that signed up for it and were demanding tickets when just over 6,000 people attended the thing in full. So a joke. And he had 6 members of his office that tested positive before the rally even started. And Donald Trump, he talks about what he's going to talk about. Basically, veterans. Talked about sleeping Joe Biden, Seattle ICE, unemployment for black folks, draining the swamps. So just things like that. And like I said, there was no social distancing guidelines in place. He actually had people that attended the rally sign waivers, basically like safety health waivers, basically saying that if you contract the coronavirus, that it's on you and it's not on me. So there was that. He went on to talk about China and the coronavirus, and he's already been chastised for talking about China derogatorily previously, calling it the China flu, the China virus. He did it again. He called it the Chinese virus. And I don't know if I can say this. He called it the Kung flu. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, those are slurs. And I don't rock with that at all. So, yeah, he definitely takes time to really pander to his audience at these rallies. What he says at rallies and what he says to the country are just two completely different things, and he's BSing everybody. So, yeah, he had all these people that showed up, and he actually talked about the coronavirus, boasting that he saved lives, saying that he saved over 100,000 lives during this whole pandemic, which is definitely a head scratcher on that one. He had talked about how he had 5 million people tested, and he wants to slow down the testing, and how the numbers are skewed because we have more people tested. But the thing is, that's not the determining factor of how many people actually have the virus and the numbers that keep going up daily. Just because more people are being tested doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of more people getting access to the test. Like here in Texas, I live in Houston. There was testing for everybody in the city that was available before the city even opened back up. Houston is pretty much open like it was before this even happened. So if you come to Houston and just drive around the city, it'll be like the good old days. It'll be just like everything's back to normal. And I personally don't feel like it should be that way. I'm a cautious individual by nature, but I will admit that there's just conflicting reports coming from different people, and it's really hard to know who to trust if you're not using common sense. So Anthony Fauci, who's the leader of Trump's COVID task force, he basically gave two totally contradictory statements in March and then in April, saying that civilians don't have to wear N95 masks, saying that that's not necessary. But then only a month later going on to say, hey, it's kind of disheartening to see so many people not following these safety guidelines, when in actuality he was just trying to save these N95 masks for the essential workers, the health workers that actually needed them, because there was a shortage of masks, which people would understand if you would have said that. But he goes out and lies because he's part of Trump's team, and that's what Trump does. That's the Trump strategy. Lie to the public. Lie to the public, and then we'll cross that bridge whenever it comes back to haunt us, pretty much. And yeah, the biggest talking point, because he never really says anything at his rallies, joining the swamps and building the wall and all these numbers, but the biggest talking point is the coronavirus, and how just people take to it as just how they feel. It's not as serious as people are making it, or people are making it not as serious as it is. How about that? There's people in the country that don't feel like they need to wear a mask, and why is that? Is because they see this man that's our president, and they're like, well, he's not wearing one. It's a sign of strength, is what he says, I think. And it's not. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's not a sign of strength. It's just straight idiocy. Basically, you had 6 members of your staff that tested positive before the rally even started. You had people coming into the rally having to sign waivers. So what about this is smart? He's still on the campaign trail. He's in Arizona or New Mexico right now, meeting up with officials about his wall that he's built, which actually isn't a wall. It's more of a fence than anything. Quit lying to the people, Trump. But this whole situation with coronavirus, it's the information is just it just seems subjective. The people that want to believe it, they'll believe it. People that choose not to believe it, they'll just go along their day. They'll go into Walmart, they'll go into these businesses. They will shoot you if you tell them to wear a mask. There was actually a case in May. I think it was the start of May, about somebody being told to wear a mask, and then they retaliated by shooting somebody. And people see this as infringement on their rights, but in actuality, you harboring a virus that can't be cured right now and passing it along to other people, that's actually infringing on somebody else's rights. What if I, as a person, as a normal person, want to go out and do things in a safe way? I want to get some sunshine with my mask on, walking at a park, and then I have a group of people maybe just kind of walk by, maybe one of them cough on me, just disrespect my whole situation. So this rally is he's kind of using it as a pro, because he did mention sleeping Joe Biden and how he hasn't been out in 79 days. He hasn't been out in 79 days. He hasn't been seen in 79 days. You know why? Because the world is under quarantine. That's why. As simple as that. There's no strength or weakness being displayed. There shouldn't be any blame, any name calling. There should be no blame games. The fact that he keeps targeting China, even though it originated in China, the fact that he's targeting China is problematic, and it's not okay. It's racist, because hey, it's around the world now. Like it's out the box. So it's really just how each country handles it, essentially. So yeah, I will say that I've never really watched a Trump rally, and watching this one was don't want to say entertaining, because that would suggest that I enjoyed it. But whenever he talked about the media, he had this whole monologue just mapped out. He talked for about half an hour to 45 minutes, It was a borderline comedy show. Him talking about saluting 600 soldiers and going up on stage and talking for hours, and him wearing leather shoes and can't walk down the stairs because his feet will be hurting. And the punchline was him drinking a glass of water. Hey. Oh my goodness.